wanted to talk about everybody's kind of college experiences. We got a whole bunch of different situations here amongst the five of us. Obviously, different high school situations coming from different states, and pro ball and indie ball situations as well. But I think today's discussion probably be better if we focus on college. We had a couple of topics and just wanted to kind of throw a couple of things out there and see where the convo goes. One of the few things that I wanted to for sure get to is each individual's experience in college, that maybe what they pulled from their college experience that was really different from high school, maybe something that they struggled adjusting to, or something they really, really liked about the lifestyle of a college baseball player. Just kind of paint the picture of what it was like for you, after that senior year of high school on into the college experience. And obviously they'll be different for everybody where you ended up going. So I can kind of just say a little bit quick about me to start. I had probably a little bit more of a typical, or like more boring as far as college experience goes, because no coaches changed. I stayed at the same place. I was from Minnesota. My dad was used to the staff there, so I'd already met them. I'd gone to like camps growing up, and I, went there as a freshman, played freshman, sophomore, junior year. And again, not really anything changed other than obviously some kids graduated and new kids came in. So from that experience, the biggest thing was like the day-to-day lifestyle change, as far as having a super structured approach to the game of baseball. So I remember that big time from like high school, being like one of the 5 or 6 guys on the team that wanted more structure, or like liked being at the field a ton and wanted to actually work. Obviously everybody on the high school team likes being there, but there's a difference between how much time you put in high school and like a 3-hour college practice that happens like 5 days a week. So that was for me probably the biggest thing, just to kick it off, would be, like there's a long process that's from a warm up that's 10 times longer than your warm up in high school. There's a throwing progression, there's individual skill stuff. And it just takes a long time, obviously, and it's a lot more drawn out. So it feels, quite a bit different than just tossing a bucket of baseballs out, getting your BP in, and having a little bit easier agenda. So I don't know if anybody else had that kind of experience too. And go ahead.
That's kind of funny because I kind of look at it the opposite way a little bit. From my experience, in high school, my coach was like a guy where you had to get to the field 4 hours early, and you had to do dailies, and you had to do fundies, and you had to do all that stuff. And it was like, I'm pitching today and I got to do first baseman fundamental drills. It's like, all right, this is kind of just carrying on a little too long. And then I got to college, and Olean's a big guy where if you're kind of doing well and you're there for a reason, he'll kind of get out of your way a little bit, and it's kind of on you. You get the freedom that like you have to earn, obviously, but if you come back the next year, freshman or sophomore year, and you're not any better, you're not going to play. But like it's on you. You got the freedom. They don't give you a workout plan. You kind of got to do it on your own. And I kind of enjoyed that freedom because I had to drive to get better. Whereas a lot of kids, that kind of weans the good players from the bad. They don't do what they got to do in the off season. But I mean, obviously D1 is probably different because you guys probably had to do a lot more stuff. But I don't know. That was just a little different from me than you, I guess.
I think it might go coach too, so people can kind of come in, because I know Rob Fornacier, the assistant at Minnesota when I was there, I think that he just really liked providing that extra structure. Now, the hands-on coaching, as far as like the development, probably was a little bit more in line with what you're saying. So it's like, take what you do outside of regular practice, or how you even use your 45 minutes of BP to get better. But as far as like the structure and stuff, I know that's something that he's on the way structured side of the spectrum, where people may not know, obviously, but I coached with Olean for a year when you were there too, and that's something I really liked about him, to be able to still manage a squad, but understand that you can't micromanage absolutely everybody all the time. And if you got a couple leaders and guys that can handle their stuff, then it takes that much more off your plate as a coach, to be able to say, you do your stuff, and if you're not able to perform, then that's on you. You know what I mean? So.
Yep.
I liked the structure going off of OG and just a little bit a different perspective on that. And not saying either is right or wrong, whatever fits you, but I just remember in high school, not really finding much of a love to or want to be like in the weight room or anything like that. Doing things like that, probably more so that now that I think about it, just because I didn't know what to do. And I didn't know, obviously, your core lifts, but like the smaller fine-tuned stuff, that the progressions and how to basically line that up with your week to week schedule, whether you're playing games, whether you're practicing. So for me, when I got to DMAC, I really relished the structure that Fitz and Coach Fitzgerald and our strength coach Charlie Eastland put together in a really, really dungy, musty weight room that was probably did not meet code at all. It was absolutely disgusting. But you start to have that structure, and you start to get in there with guys that have the same goals in mind, and kind of push you to be a little better. And we're all competitors. He's doing 10 pounds more than you, and you're like, screw that. I want to do that weight. And I think for me personally, that allowed me to kind of find a love for the weight room. And then once I kind of did that personally for me, I saw a serious uptick in performance that I had never seen before. And obviously that for me was like a drug. As soon as I saw a little bit more of that, I wanted that again and again and again. And I think that's what drove me. And then obviously at Minnesota, I was lucky to be under Cal Dietz with the strength program, like Modal and Quaz, I believe. So that was great too, because again, it was like put your nose to the grindstone. It was all laid out. And I really liked that. I didn't like having to plug my own stuff in there. So
I think with that transition, like from high school to college for everybody, because you don't really know, you kind of know when you're getting recruited, the situation that you're headed into. But at the same time, I think it's so important to know your identity, as a player, without a doubt, to understand what your strengths and certainly what your weaknesses are, but also to know your identity as a person. I mean, you're going from being big fish in a little pond. When you're in high school and you're a really good player, people know who you are. And even
Right.
when you're playing on the club teams or the travel teams, people still know your name. So teammates, you make teammates easy, and the coach would like you and all that. But when you get into college, now guys are competing for the same job. And if you don't know what you do well, it's so easy to get lost, in that shuffle as far as confidence. I think it's really easy to all of a sudden now you don't, you get around new guys who are competing for your spot, and competing is great. And you love to compete to build culture. At the same time, we all know there's good teammates and there's bad teammates, and there are certain teammates that are simply will, cut throat just to get your job. And I think it's important, especially with those guys, to know, what you do well and what your goals are and what you're trying to accomplish, because then you can stay confident in your ability when you try and, now I'm in college and I can recreate my image and be this new person. Well, you can't forget what you do well. I mean, you just can't. I think that was a huge thing for me, is I just forgetting your identity or who you are as a player, which is easy for guys throughout their career, not just college, I think.
Yeah, I got something to go off from KC with the identity. Like my experience, went to Burnsville High School. We were the best team in the state. We were in state championship my sophomore year. Won the state championship my junior year, and then we were first in state all senior year. We had like 5 D1 commits, like projected to win the whole thing again my senior year. So like things came easy for us. We were the best team in the state, and we knew we were good, and we still worked hard as a team. Don't get us wrong, we had great structure, and that carried over into college with structure with Fornacier and our practice plans and all that stuff. But I think my jump from high school to college, it was more just like a reality check. Like, I went to Minnesota with a high school teammate of mine, and then about 3 other guys from Minnesota that I played against my whole life, and we were the best players in the state. And then we get to Minnesota, and then it kind of looked like we all were going to redshirt type of thing. Like we weren't going to play. So it was kind of like a reality check for us. And I think that kind of, we lost our identity a little bit and like our confidence in ourselves. And like from my experience, I was facing, Tom Windle, who's a projected second rounder in that year's draft. I'm facing DJ Snelton, who's, who was a big leaguer.
Arguably two of the nastiest
Ben
injuries I've ever seen.
Facing Alec Crawford, who's a JUCO All-American. I'm facing, Ben Meyer, who's a big leaguer. Like all these guys, like bulldogs on the mound. And I'm like, I can't compete with this right now. Like this is way over my head. So I just started, just working hard to get better and get in the lineup. And the thing that got me in the lineup was my defense. Like I would go in and be a ninth inning sub in center field and push the center fielder to right fielder type of thing. So like I just had to find ways to get myself in the lineup and kind of restore that confidence, because I always knew that my defense would never slump. So
Right.
Speed never slumps, babe.
Yeah, so it was just like a big reality check for me as a hitter. Like, man, I gotta change some stuff. Like I gotta work on some stuff if I really want to compete at the D1 level.